Yes, hello. I am very excited to have this conversation with you because I have been lingering around quite some time and I have been prompting Jane and also connecting with Joanne beforehand. So I am all ready, ladies. I am all ready.
Oh, excellent. Oh, welcome, Alora. It has been a number of years since you left the planet, and you left a bunch of stunned people when you left. We were quite devastated, actually. I believe it was December 2006. What was it? Your life contract to leave so early?
Yes, it was all perfectly planned from our point of view. My life contract was to be able to connect with people, get them aware of spirituality from a higher perspective, and then with the drama of me leaving, was to make people even feel connected to me, to feel the loss of me, and then to be still able to try and connect up, knowing that I was right there awaiting. So this was all part of the show that we were trying to help our community experience and learn from. So it was very poignant, very important, and very purposeful.
Hmm. Um, did you actually leave with Heru? There was a message given after your passing that Heru had gotten you out of the, oh gosh, what did we call it? Um, Beyond the earth prison, if you will.
Yeah. So when I passed, I was given a lot more information of the real status of humanity and what this planet was going through. And so that was a big surprise to me because while we were doing our project together, we were focusing on the spirituality realm and focusing on the out of the greater information that the universe has to provide for us. So when I did depart, I suddenly was very much aware of the true things that have been going on behind the closed doors and behind the scenes of the control and the manipulation and the crimes against humanity. So I was profoundly shocked. I was more than shocked. It was so overwhelming to realize that while we were tapping into the bigger information of the universe, we should have been focusing a little bit more or being a little bit more aware of the information from home and what was happening. And so this was purposeful. This is what we were supposed to be doing, was to get people excited and evolving with us with our information that we were sharing about spirituality and how we can connect and who we really are. And then to be able to let me depart and see things on the bigger perspective of actually what's happening here. And this is why it was overwhelming because it was just such a massive shock to see really what was behind the veil. And what was behind the veil was reflecting back on actually what humanity was going through. And so it wasn't that I was stuck or I was in a prison. I did not need to be freed. I could have gone back to source straight away, but because I was still connected with my friend and we were connecting often, she was able to hear the information that I was seeing. And it was so overwhelming. We were trying to awaken you up to the crimes against humanity, but it was so shocking for us to both experience this. It did not, it was very challenging to be able to get the information and the messages out to our followers who were quite oblivious as we were to the bigger issues at hand. We were using connections with other dimensions to be able to suddenly get the bigger truths. And it was hard because I was in the other dimensional plane of being still connected profoundly to the earth. I did not want to fully go back to source. So I was experiencing things as what you would say a ghost. And so I was a spirit ghost, whatever you feel comfortable with, but I was still very deeply connected to my friend. And so she was sensing my lower vibrations and overcoming all of the information I was getting at this other vantage point. My vibration was lower, her vibration was lower. And so this is why it suddenly seemed like there was a lot of challenging information that had come that I was reporting back to her. And she was feeling suddenly very alone, having to justify the information I was giving to her. And her not only mourning a physical friend, but also feeling very overwhelmed with the information I was giving her, because it just seemed too huge for her alone to be able to explain the crimes against humanity and the real problems that humanity is actually going through that are quite oblivious that they were going through.
So was it your co-author, your friend Karen, was it her independent decision to recant all the information that you all had brought through?
It was so overwhelming for her. This was her only option, is just to shake it off, shrug it off, and walk away. She got so much criticism and critics, and a lot of people were just so struggling with the information, the sudden twist of the content that that I was providing to her. It was too overwhelming. She felt the pressure too much. And so it was just easier for her to say, right, that's it. I give up. All of it was nonsense. Goodbye. Don't bother me again. And so that was her knee-jerk reaction to just feeling overwhelmed with trying to be the sole person to express and explain the bigger information. Of course, when you hear big information through channeling, you want proof. And when the intuition of the audience was not very advanced, and the information that was coming out was so dark, it did confuse a lot of people. There was a lot going on. And so while some people feel that that it was suddenly too dark and they got lost in the context of it, it was a lot for one channeler to grieve the friendship, feel the seriousness of how do I help humanity, know all of this when humanity is asking for proof. And it was too much. And so the people who did resonate with the pure information that we were starting off with and helping humanity with, those people knew in their hearts that there was truth and integrity there. And then there was something that was missing still when the context changed, and with my departure, there was still some truths, but it did not feel like it was the full truth, and there was questions there. And it was, we did not mean to confuse people, but what we did want people to do is keep using their real intuition and think for themselves and try to connect in with themselves more. And so it was just a different, I just want to say it's almost a different planet now, because the vibrations were so different back then, even though it wasn't a huge amount of time has passed. The vibrations on the planet then from the vibrations to the planet now are very different, very, very, very different. And so I do feel and do check in with people who did resonate with my work, who are the more advanced beings on this planet. And I did connect in with you, Jane, and I have been there helping you as well, because you have been able to use your intuition to tap in and know what's right and what's sort of a bit confusing. And as I say with everyone, when you're confused about some channeling information, it may not be because you're not able to see it. It may be because there is some, what is the most appropriate word? There is some mistranslations, and there is other things happening. So you know the real inner truth to many things, and you need to use your guidance as you are doing so much better now. But back then, a lot of people were still, they finally had felt like they had fallen into the right path and the right truth that was really invigorating and activating them. And when they saw our story and our information suddenly changing quite dramatically, it did make people question: had we been compromised, and what was the issues there? And the matter of the case that I firmly want to say to people now is that the information that we got while I was alive was true and accurate and 100% the best that we could provide with our own experiences in life. So of course we would, get the information that we could, and we were wanting to share it. We say that we were not compromised. When I passed, my dear friend just felt very overwhelmed with the greater truths of the crimes against humanity and how much we've been manipulated, and this overwhelmed her.
Yeah, well, I'm glad for you to say that the information that you all brought through was accurate. And I guess I would like to know if any of the beings that you all spoke about in your body of work, are they still here and helping humanity? And are the tools that were presented, are they still supportive for humanity as, where we are now?
I want to say that yes, all the beings that have wanted to help humanity throughout its entire existence, they are still here working. Sometimes they will go and do other projects, but they come and go as they are needed with their expertise of skills. We want to say that there is a lot more beings now than ever supporting humanity because of the importance of the time for humanity. The tools that we provided for humanity, they are still worthy. If you need to be empowered by those tools, they're still very valid. But there is many have been activated, and no longer the humanity as a collective have already surpassed some of those tools that they've needed, and so they're still valid for some people, and not so much for others. So it depends on your own personal growth and how much you're able to vibrate and your own personal frequency.
What could you talk about the micro God warriors?
The micro God warriors.
Yes.
Well, I see them now as more like your own personal guides. And so remembering that we are all gods that we are creating. And so these were your personal support systems. You don't just have one or two guides, you have multiple guides, and they also are like the beings that are supporting the planet. And they will be there with you at certain times and not so much for others. And so they are coming and going. And so there are, every being has a specialty, and they will be helping and serving many people at different times. And so this is always purposeful. They always have their unique roles that they are able to do more so than others. It's their specialty. It's something that they like the most. So everyone has big support groups and teams on the other side. And so this is what I was referring to them about, certain beings that would be coming and individually supporting people through certain growth patterns that they need to be able to explain and explore on their own.
Okay. Thank you. We had Joanne and I were wondering if there was some urgency to your message today, since you were in our fields, and so was this just a happy connecting occasion, or did you have something that you wanted to say to humanity at this time?
I wanted to be able to get your attention because I wanted to remind you of our body of work when it was true, and when it was presented to humanity. It was a gift to humanity to be able to raise your awareness and attention to the bigger spiritual themes and matters. While you were questioning many people on this planet who aren't seeming to be able to share the bigger truths, this is a nice reminder to you all that once you keep seeking the bigger truth and you are constantly on search for the bigger truth, and then you're given the bigger truth, it's so overwhelming, especially when you get it all at once, that it's easy for many people just to say, okay, I'm done, I'm giving up. I'm keeping small, I'm keeping safe with the smaller information, and I'll just keep sharing that to the world. And so this is why you have questioned Doreen Virtue, because she's also had a similar path experience. She did tap into the full truth because of her diligence to humanity. It was so huge. And when you are feeling like one person who has got the bigger truth, where do you start? You want proof yourself. When you're tapping into the spiritual world, and the spiritual world and the bigger beings are telling you the bigger truths, and no one else in the world is sharing these bigger truths, it's very isolating. You definitely question your own sanity. You have to fact check yourself, and there is a lot going on there. And so some people have questioned whether they have been cloned, or they've been threatened and they're afraid, and recanted all the truths that they promoted once so gracefully. And sometimes it's just easier to just go to nothing and to give up and say to the world, I was wrong. I found Christianity. Leave me alone. Don't ask for any information that I know. I'm done with the public. And so that has definitely been the case for Doreen. And we understand that because she has helped so much for so long. And it's hard to be able to be a gift for humanity, to share the truth and wisdom. And because humanity, we want to say this lightly, because humanity does have some antisocial behaviors, and is very mean to each other to some degree. When you are searching the truth and you're confused and you found the truth, often you can be mean and almost troll-like with your demands to get the truth. And so while you're trying to help humanity with a bigger information, you're also having to deal with the lower vibrational people that are still stuck and lowered in fear and worry, and demanding so much from these individual people to help them find their own path. And it is very draining and very taxing on the individuals. And so you can only go as long as you are balanced, and many people who have had these big roles to help humanity have been burnt out because it's just too exhausting to keep pushing humanity to be bigger mindseted beings with higher vibrations, when it almost seems like people are just dragging their feet and not wanting to do their inner work, and you have to literally push them kicking and screaming. It's a lot. And when the bigger truths are so tremendous and so big to be able to process for yourselves, having to then share the information that you're getting from the higher dimensional beings to be able to awaken others and share the truth with others, that itself is a big task. And then dealing with the hecklers and the critics is very challenging. Because you're all still human, and you still have feelings and emotions in your own personal lives to balance. And so we're just wanting to show that this has happened many, many, many times. And we wanted you to just know that it wasn't the case of clones or being threatened by other people to keep small and not share the truth. It is the individuals just feeling overwhelmed and collapsing within their own information and wanting to just take a step back out of the public eye and work on their own information and be able to help humanity from a different direction.
Understandably so. Goodness. So Laura, are you still here as you referred to it, a ghost?
Well, I have now mostly gone back to source, but I'm still wanting to tap in and still experience the human experience, because I still want to help, and I still want to keep my essence of me. And once I go back fully to source, I will not have that frequency registration anymore. And so I'm still wanting to be a part of me for my family and my close friends who still want me around. And I'm also helping all the people who did follow our work and did resonate with our work. And so I'm being very helpful and very busy, being able to connect with everyone. So this is still part of my life purpose and my life contract that I wanted to do. So I'm not stuck. I could easily go fully back to source and be able to do other things. But I would like to keep doing my role to help humanity, because I'm so in love with humanity and I'm so wanting to help. And it's easier this way because I'm not so triggered with the trolls and the people stuck in the understanding and processing stuff. So I want to be as close to my friends as possible and my family. And this is the best way for me to do that.
Oh, that's very interesting. What is your perspective of humanity now that you're on the other side?
Well, it's still very much a challenge to fully awaken humanity. Humanity is still quite unaware of the true control and true issues that humanity is suffering and experiencing. It's so much, it's so vast, it's so gigantic, that most beings are sort of, some are suspicious, some are completely asleep, and others are very, very aware. But it's when most humans are aware of their environment and how much they're controlled in the truth, they only really can see it from their selves, their own perspective. And so when we're looking at it from here, we're seeing all of the collective being manipulated and controlled. And while there are individuals that are very, very aware of what's happening, the human collective as a whole in its totality is still quite naive to really how impactful all this manipulation and control is really still dominating you. And it is a good concern for us, because from this perspective, humanity, while having this control, really cannot lift themselves out into a higher frequency that is needed for humanity at this time. And so it is a huge task. And unfortunately, it seems that the people who have wanted to distract themselves from their lives and their missions here, wanting to focus on the ETs and the gods and the spiritual beings and who they are in their other lifetimes. I mean, while that's very valid, it's still very distracting, because you're all needing to support each other verbally and emotionally and energetically to be able to understand how much you are in control. And so while you still feel like it's polite to go with the majority of what is the current topic, there needs to be some severely bigger awakenings for the collective. And you can only do that when you're speaking your truth. But as you know, censorship is very strong right now. And when people are trying to tell the truth and share the truth and point out the truth, it is more easier just to go with the flow of what everyone else is believing, thinking. No one wants to be the squeaky wheel, and no one wants to stand up and say, look at this and think for yourselves and be critical thinkers. So it is very challenging because everyone still feels like they're this insignificant speck in society and the collective, but you're all very important. And so when you all stand up with your own truth and empower yourselves, not be afraid of what other people think of you when you share your truth, that's when humanity will really be free. And so we're seeing and we're giving you all encouragement and love, and we are trying to keep you focused on the now and moving forward with your present lives, not thinking and feeling back into the past, not getting so ahead of yourself to know about your future or your other lifetimes. We really needing people to just sit in the energy of today. And this is why a lot of people are feeling like they can't have a lot of things on their minds, and they're just focusing on the one thing at hand. This is very purposeful, just to not let the people who are already awake feel overwhelmed with it all, because it's very overwhelming. Because you can tap in so easily to the collective's energy, and a lot of energy is still in the lower frequencies of fear and worry and insignificance and lack. And so we're really hoping that everyone starts empowering themselves with pure love to themselves, understanding that they're not alone, that even as you are with your fellow man and you can support each other profoundly, we are also here on the other side, rooting for you and supporting you and encouraging you to keep going. It does, there is so much to life that you don't see and don't notice. And it's part of your human experience, but there is also other things happening that are kind of influencing and impacting your human experience that was not part of your contract. And so this is an extra challenge. Your life contracts on their own were very challenging. And so you were adding on all this other stuff to distract you from your own purpose and your own contracts and your own lives. There's a lot going on here. And so this is making all of your spiritual teams work extra hard.
Well, we certainly appreciate all the work our teams are doing. We certainly need all the support that we can get. I would love to know how your friend Karen is doing. Is she still on the planet?
Yes, she is still there, and she's still unfolding the information that I am still giving her. It was a lot for her. I was telling her everything, and it overwhelmed her so much. And I was still confused with what I was seeing, because suddenly I was not greeted by angels, and I was suddenly seeing a lot of darkness that was from the planet, and it really offended me and upset me, because I just thought that everything we were seeing in life was exactly how life was, and there was no hidden agendas and no corruption of this magnitude that's really happening. And so as soon as I got out, all I could see was this dark mist and this real horrible toxic energy that was over everyone. And it was so challenging to get my head around it, because I was so sensitive to suddenly what I was aware of, and it was overwhelming to think here I was helping all these people get this bigger truth about the universe and all the other dimensional beings and life as higher beings, and I was completely oblivious to all the other stuff that was happening. I had I was aware of some stuff, but you can never seem to understand, know, until you've crossed over. So it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot, and it was part of my purpose to be able to transmit that information back to my friend. And so she is now processing the information she has for quite a while, and we've unpacked a lot with her. It was a lot. It was a lot. There was half the community was supporting her in her grief, and then also it seems a lot of people, when they want to support someone with grief, want to share their own grief story as if that will help match. A lot of people wanted to support her, but by adding and giving her more stories about more grief, it just overwhelmed her a lot. She was feeling responsible that she had to respond to everyone. And then there were some trolls as well that were not so fantastic. And that was really eating into her too, because when humans are so horrible to humans, it just takes a spiritual person or a person coming from unconditional love a minute to just think, what on earth, who has damaged you so much that you are so vile to each other? To a complete stranger. And so she had to process that a lot on her own. While she did have some support, we were soulmates. And so when she lost her physical soulmate energy in the physical, it really made her feel isolated. She did have a childhood where she experienced a little bit of now I'm wondering if I should share this publicly. She did experience abandonment, and so this triggered some of her own inner work. And so, pardon if this was giving information is private, but it did make her have to do an awful lot of her own inner work. And also be so overwhelmed with the information that I was sharing with her, because not that many people were talking about it, and it suddenly made a lot of the darkness very real for her. And so she had to go on that by herself, on that journey, and it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah. Well, I have felt from time to time, she would just come to my mind and heart, and I just felt great compassion for her situation, and I just sent her so much love, as I do you.
Thank you. And when she was able to process her own inner work, she did spend a lot of time in gratitude for the people that did boost us, did believe in us, and did respect us, because we never did it for the fame or the money or the followers. We did it because we wanted to get the truth out there, because we were just as curious as everyone else. And so this was when she was able to process her own personal experiences. She did then spend a lot of work feeding back into her collective of community that she had created. And when you sensed her, that was when she was in her energy, sending love and acknowledgement and thanks, because she felt like there were so many people that helped her through energetically, even though you had never written to each other or even really knew of each other. Energetically, you are still connected. And so she was spending a lot of time honoring those people, because she felt guilty that while she cracked under pressure, there were a lot of people that truly believed in the work. And she was hoping that you would have your intuition still, and you would still be able to go and seek the truth and not rely on her and her information, but be able to find your own pathway to find the bigger information yourselves. She felt like she failed everyone. And there was a lot of emotional situations where she needed to overcome, and she has been able to do that. She realizes the pressure of fame and the pressure of popularity is a hard role to take when you're going through a very personal experience with losing your best friend. Yeah. So it was a lot. There's a lot going on, but she is fine. She is fine. She is fine. And we, I feel like I have overshared her personal experience, but I think the people who are listening will respect her as a human being still, and understand that there is a lot of responsibility that you get when you get the information. So there's a lot going on.
Well, thank you for that. I'm very pleased to know that she is still with us, and I had a lot of love for her, actually, and you as well. And thank you for everything that you've done for humanity. Is there any final message you would like to give, or anything for Joanne or me?
Yes, I want to honor both of you for still seeking and resonating with the truth, because it is a lot. It is a lot for humans still living on the planet to know and accept and be balanced with. So I honor you for being able to keep that balance, because I understand it is a lot. And Jane, I want to acknowledge you for your support and energy that you provided in with us, because even though we were not in communication, we could feel your love and everyone's love who really resonated with our work, and that put a lot of pressure on us, because we wanted to keep going for you all and for ourselves, so we could really scratch out the information. And so that's why we always want to connect in with the people who resonated with our work, because we know you are the special beings here to also help humanity. So, we adored you just as much as you adored us. And we are very grateful, because it is hard to not get fully distracted in the 3D. It is hard to learn your lessons that you want to experience in this lifetime and still do your humanitarian work. And so, I would like to say to you personally that you have accomplished everything that you wanted to experience and much more. And I am so grateful for you to still consider us, because you saw our true intent to help humanity, and it wasn't about showboating or ego. We were genuine, and we just wanted to say thank you, because sometimes we listen to the critics too much, and that is hard when you've got the bigger information that you want to share with humanity. And we probably should have focused a little bit more actually what was happening on this planet, but we were so excited and we were so curious about what was happening. So there was a lot going on, but we were happy with the seeds that we planted in people's minds and hearts that needed to be shared.
Well, I want to acknowledge you and your work for facilitating a profound healing for me. So again, thank you. Thank you for all your service.
And well, I wanted to say that we could provide all the content and all the healing and all the tools for that, but it's not until the person wants that healing and wants that information will that be given. So we could prepare a big smorgasbord of everything, but it's not until the person wants to come and consume the information and process the information for them to be able to receive it. And so you did the work, and you have always been doing the work. And while you have been working to find more information and to get yourself back into that education of learning, because you're so thirsty for learning and lessons and experiences, that you are always seeking and searching, and that is fantastic, because if we had continued on our path, then we can see that many people would not do their own inner work and not do their own searching, and rely on us a little bit too much. And this is very purposeful why things had to go as they did, because we understand why you felt alone on your journey trying to search for the other information. You did stand up on your own 2 feet and you empowered yourself through that. And that's ultimately what everyone really needs to do, is empower themselves with their own information and own connection. And it's way too easy to rely on others for that. So I'm wanting to replace and return your appreciation and gratitude back to you, and saying, thank you for honoring yourself so much, for wanting that healing and wanting those connections.
Well, thank you. It's been very delightful to speak with you today.
It has been my pleasure, and I will not harass Joanne with the vacuuming anymore. And it was to show her and to remind her that while she can tap into this other dimension and have these conversations, I too also needed to do the mundane chores. And so it is laughing along with her in many ways, and having conversations with her about the responsibility of her role, and also enjoying the 3D life as well. So we have been having many conversations. So okay. You're welcome, and it has been lovely to chat and reminisce of the journey. And I hope that this has explained what really went down from our perspective, because we understand it must have looked very peculiar for others.
Mm-hmm. It was very shocking, but it was part of the journey. So, yes,
very purposeful.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we'll ask you to thank you, and we'll ask you to receive now.
Okay. Wow. What was the okay. Tell me about the was it the mini gods?
The micro god warriors.
What? Never heard of those.
Yeah. Well, this is such a large body of work. Let me see if I can remind myself of the name and title of the book. The Return of Light is the name of the book. It was published in 2005. And they did some updates that they would publish. The internet was not like it is today. So you didn't have that, kind of immediate communication going on. But this was a conversation with a creator god called Heru, who was very connected with Allura. Allura Gabriel was her name. And Karen, don't have her name. But anyway, you can Google Return of the Light. I've already forgotten now. Yeah, Return of the Light.
Do you feel like she was connected to like an Arcturian? It feels like she was connected to her own personal, like subconscious as an Arcturian.
She possibly was very advanced in that she could push her consciousness out really far, way beyond just having past life recall. She actually got to the point where she pushed it out and found family and memory of a lifetime, what she would call her home planet, in a light universe, not the fallen universe. And she got the memories of how life was there. It's extraordinary. It's like the polar opposite of what it is here. She had two beings present themselves to her that told her that they were her brothers. And, they had been searching for her, because when she left as part of the project to come help Earth, she never returned. And that's true of so many of us, according to this body of work. And so she was very advanced in her spiritual work, seeking and gathering information as to what was out beyond Earth. But as she said, they weren't really looking at all the issues on Earth. What we knew was that, or what we thought we knew and understood, was that we were essentially trapped here, that we came on a rescue mission and it was essentially a trap. We got hung up here for many, many thousands of years. And our, calls for backup and all that were never heard. And so, there was a great sense of abandonment and great trauma, which I would say probably every human has in their cellular memory. So, but she was a writer, and she had a couple of internet businesses. One was a health products, and she created flower essences, and maybe she sold some supplements or something. But I remember her flower essences were extraordinary. I've missed those. But she was a very interesting woman. She was married, and I think she had suffered with poor health throughout her life. I don't know the details of any of it. I don't even know the details of her death. But very extraordinary woman, as is Karen. And together they really did a lot. And Karen was a very good channel, and Laura knew all the questions to ask. So they were a good team.
Wow. So interesting, because I wanted to find out the information about that being stuck here and having to reincarnate here, because it felt like when we asked that question not so long ago, it seemed like when you come out of a life and you reflect back on that life, you realize how controlled and manipulated Earth is. And so that was people wanting to go back and to have healing first from it, and then to make another life contract to come back and to be able to help. But because it's so challenging to do our life purpose and then be marinated in the 3D, it's nearly impossible to keep the purpose still going. So it didn't seem like it was a trap, though. It seemed like it was our free will to want to come back to help, because we're trapped on Earth to find our spirituality and to see things from this It's so convoluted. I love it.
It's very convoluted, and I would say that how the information is presented in their body of work is different, certainly from what we've discovered through Dolores and QHHT, which is, why the question about the false light. It's, I'm still trying to figure this out, because in those days, that was the information that we were trapped here, that we were in a prison. And I like this information so much better that, Dolores has brought in. And yeah, so I'm going with that.
It does seem like there was a lot of fear in the information.
Oh, very.
And so therefore, when you look back, when you're out of body, you're looking back at your life and seeing what fear looks like. I think that's what she was really noticing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do. Mm-hmm. Some of the tools that they brought in for people to utilize were things like different chambers that you could intentionally place yourself into, like a Neuronet healing chamber. You had a perfected blueprint chamber, an energetic detox chamber, karmic healing chambers,
was it places? Was it actually places? Or did you meditate and go into those?
It was essentially, you just ask for it and, you set your intention to go there. Manifesting
tools, which seems really good and purposeful, right?
Yes. It gave you the sense of empowerment that you could actually do something, to help yourself. And certainly meditation was emphasized, and, doing anything for oneself, but changing your mindset, and these micro God warriors. There's this whole story, it's really too much to encapsulate very quickly, but what they called Prime Creator, and I wish I'd asked her to describe that again. I get confused with Prime Creators and Creator Gods and Source and all that. But that there was a rescue mission coming or at play, that the Creator was coming back for his children to free them from the dark. And Prime Creator was devastated at what he found, and also found that the imminent rescue wasn't so easy, that it wasn't happening quite as quickly as they hoped, because we were in such dire shape. And so he had to create these, what they called the God warriors. It was like this whole other race of beings to come in, and they were, they could penetrate anything, and you could call on them, like you do your angels, I guess. And I'm pretty rusty with my memory about all this, but they were pretty cool. They were very cool. They could come in and, kick butt.
Those beings.
Maybe we need to start calling on them again.
Yeah, come back. Okay. Well, thank you, Jane, for that. That was really interesting. Now I can understand why she kept coming in as well. I can see some similarities there. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.